guys, Jona here, and I'm in Poland on the hunt for weird and quirky tools, and I'm at OB. This is a massive big national chain of hardware stores that don't just have DIY stuff, they've also got professional tools, and hopefully I can find some amazing stuff. Now, Poland aren't known for the tools, but they actually do make some here, and hopefully I can find some in OB. So let's go and have a look. So being in Poland, everything's in Polish zloty. 5 zloty to a pound at the moment. So the pair of mill grips here are 42.79 zloty. Roughly works out to about £8.50, something like that. So keep that in mind, all these prices. You've got to divide them by 5 to get them into pounds, and then times them by 2 for you Americans if you want it in dollars. So I've looked at Olfa tools a few times, and they do seem to get around these Japanese Olfa tools. Picked up a knife in Spain, had a good look at a few bits in Denmark, and got a pretty cool razor scraper. Now I'm in Poland, and I've discovered the flexible razor scraper, but with like a blade storage section in the handle. And because everything's so well priced here, that's about £9. So that's pretty cheap as well. It's hard to believe that's been made in Japan, shipped all the way here, and it's still around about £9. Pretty good, isn't it? Last time I was in Poland, I was at Leroy Merlin, and I saw a bit of this Commissal brand there. It didn't have too much, but there's a lot more here I can see, and all of this stuff is made in Poland. I think the scraper I got in Leroy though was like a red handle with a 10 came through it, and all of this stuff here. It's a nice wooden handle, but it's not got the metal through the body. I think I do prefer the wooden handle. All different sizes. You've also got like these card scrapers. Well, actually, I thought it was a card scraper, but actually that's for tile adhesive. So I don't think I've seen one of those before. Usually you'd have something more like a trowel for tile adhesive, like one of these with a load of ribs on the side. Pretty good, isn't it? So that's like £2 for that. 11 zloty, so like £2.20. That's pretty awesome. Oh, here we go. I found a banger here. This is why I visit shops all over the world, because you always find something, and quite often it's these house brands, these private label brands. So Lux Tools must be OB's own brand. They've got loads of stuff with Lux on, and there's quite a lot of like standard tools that are not unusual, but smattered in there you can find some absolute beastie things, are really well priced as well. So this is a 1/2-inch adjustable spanner, but with a reversible jaw. So if you don't know what that is, Bacco have great reversible jaw spanners, and I've always loved them. And basically it's a normal adjustable spanner, goes right up to about 32 mil, something like that, and then you can switch the jaw around and it turns it into a bit of a Stilson. So if you round it off a knot, this thing is just incredible. But then on the other end, you've got a 1/2-inch socket driver, and this is actually a really good one, quite a fine tooth. So there's a few tools like this that scaffolders use to like have a fixed socket for doing scaffolding. It's the first time I've ever seen one on an adjustable spanner, but it gets even better because just above it, I spotted the same model. They've welded even more stuff on this one. You've added a little hammerhead on that as well. So you've got reversible jaw, you've got a 3/8 driver on this one, and you can reverse it, so you can have it going clockwise or anti-clockwise, and you've got the hammer built in, 4-in-1. And if that wasn't good enough, it's 60 zloty, so that comes out at about £12. So can't be bad, that £12, can it? That is awesome. So I'm getting one of those for definite. This is something you don't see in the UK, and that is like these house brands with really high quality tools. So this is Lux, and it's a made in Germany pair of VDE grips for about £28. You don't usually see that in house brands. Usually a house brand in England is like budget DIY version of something, but it's cool to see like a pro line, which is still a good price point, but you've got that really good high quality. And most of the stuff here I think is tools that I've seen before, but the pricing, again, I can't get over the pricing. Always interesting to look at the safety shoes in Europe, and you see a lot more of these, which you don't see in the UK, and it's like the crossover sandal safety shoe. I was looking at these in Denmark, and they had a whole row of them from Airtox. Airtox, to be fair, had some banging safety shoes, and particularly the ones with the little screw cap to tighten them up, really comfortable. But they also had a load of these airflow sandal versions, which I'm not sure about that. That's a bit of a German thing, that, isn't it? Socks and sandals. Well, maybe they do it in Poland too. It's always disappointing when you find some Zollstocks and they're just plain, and that's quite a cheap one as well, not a very good quality one. They've got a Stanley one, but the Stanley one sadly never has a brand on it either. Check if this one's any different. I've had this disappointment in the past. Yeah, it's sad. So the Stanley one that's plain, and I've already got that one to be fair. That looks a bit more promising. Lux, that's the own brand Zollstock with a logo printed on it, and it's a made in Germany one, so I wonder if that's BMI or doesn't say Stabila on it. Well, that'll do. First bit of made in the UK that I've seen here, some proper Stanley knives. I've got a few Stanley knife options, but to give you a bit of a steer on the pricing of stuff, so this is like your classic Stanley knife, 40 zloty, so £8. It's not bad, is it? You know, you'd pay £8 for that in the UK. It's an interesting adapter, isn't it? So that's like a 1/2 inch impact gun down to a 1/4 inch screwdriver bit. Don't know many 1/4 inch screwdriver bits that are going to take a 1/2 inch impactor, blasting them and not round off and fall to bits, but it's the kind of thing I'd like to take home and try. Because I've got an 1/2 inch impact gun and I'm not sure who's trying to put screws in with it, but there you go. That's from Dedra, so that's a Polish brand as well, which is what we're always on the lookout. When I'm in a different country, I'm trying to find locally made tools and local brands too that I've not seen before, so Dedra, a pretty cool pickup. It's always great looking at the steel work when it comes to trowels, because every country does it slightly differently, and you see loads of different like trowel profiles that have kind of evolved in the different countries. The welding leaves a lot to be desired, to be fair, but then you are only paying about £3 for that trowel, so fair play, and that's made in Poland. But this thing caught my eye because it's like, I'm guessing, because that's got a little hook to go on the side of your bucket, that's how they scoop mortar or like plaster onto a trestle. Usually you just use a trowel, but they've got these little mini frying pans here. It's like £4, so like you can scoop your render onto your spot, and then when it's lunchtime, fry an egg, back to the rendering. Great stuff. That's something else I've not seen in another hardware store. Interesting to see a few Makita bits and bobs too, because every country just has slightly different bits of Makita. Like, I've definitely never seen that before, like a little screwdriver bit kind of holder that you press the button, it pops down, I guess. 70 zloty, so about 13, 14 quid. It's not particularly expensive. Einhell toolkit. I think that's probably the first ever Einhell hand tool I've ever seen. Einhell do a lot of power tools, quite a cool range of stuff. That's like a 1/4 inch socket. Doesn't look particularly good, I'll be honest, but 93 zloty, so again about 18, 19 quid. That's not bad. One thing I'm taking away from Poland is everything is really reasonably priced. I think 18 quid for that set there is really good. If I do a video about the best places to buy tools, Poland is going to be on it, because there's some great value stuff to be had. It's banger after banger in here. That is another little wild looking tool that's in the same section actually, it's not far away. And this is a 1/2 inch fully flexible like extension, 200mm extension. I've never seen one that looks like that or is as flexible as that. That's pretty cool. It's about a tenner. You've also got one of my personal favourite Quirky tools, which is the extending ratchet. Picked up a couple of these over the years now, so I don't need another one, but pretty cool. It's quite a nice length anyway, but if you need some more torque, rather than putting a scaffolding bar on the end of your socket driver, you can just extend it, and it's really solid. They lock in. I think I've got a Parkside one. I've got one from Connect, which is from Bauhaus in Germany. Pretty cool thing that. This is a nice chrome one, but I think the flexible extension is something I definitely don't have from Neo Tools. Well, these Neo Tools, they've got a really nice chrome finish. And there's a few things here. The other thing that stood out to me really was just the price of a standard spanner set. So all of the Neo Tools here are really nice quality chrome, nice finish to them. That's a good quality 8-piece spanner set with a 25-year warranty for 100 zloty, which is 20 quid, which I think that is worth a look. I mean, I'm not a big fan of having spanners in a canvas bag, but I'm sure we can improve on that with a bit of shadow foam. So I think I'll grab that, plus the extension sausage, and that's another Quirky tool in the bag. Bike tools are always worth looking at, because some of the best compact tools are designed and made for the cycling industry. You never know what you're going to find. Well, they've got an Obi multi-tool. I've got probably about 10, exact same as that, but in different colours with different brands on them. 79 zloty, so 16 quid. Not bad, is it? Don't think I need to expand my multi-tool collection. It's a pretty quirky little gadget to catch dust. It's like, rather than worrying about the vacuum, you just kind of put your drill through that hole, and then the dust has got nowhere to go. It's kind of got a little brush around there where the drill is. The dust can only go into the hole. There's a seal on it, and it's 3 quid. Simple solution for a relatively annoying problem, isn't it? Dust going everywhere when you're drilling, especially in England when you're drilling into red brick and you have red brick dust which you can't get off. I was hoping to see this here. This is one of my favourite Quirky tools from last time I was in OB, and that was in Germany. And it is, well, have a guess what that is. No cheating. Don't go back and watch the Germany OB video. You don't have to wait very long because I'll show you. It's got a belt clip on it. You press the button in the middle, and you pull it out, and it is, what's that, like a 20-piece 1/4-inch bit holder, and then you press the button and it goes back inside. But for £3, just having all the 1/4-inch bits is pretty awesome. So if they had 5, I'd have got 5, but sadly I'll just get one for me, and the other 2 are for the next lucky customer. Always enjoy a good look through the hammer section. Interesting to see a couple of these different style of hammer. So this is like claw hammer with a milled face and a like magnetic nail holder, but it has like this extension on the back, and that's for like banging a hole through a slate for slate roofing. They had loads of these in Denmark and Sweden because they have a lot more slate roofs over there, but obviously they must do a fair bit of slate roofing in Poland as well. So that's a bit of a giveaway. You can tell what kind of building styles they have by some of the tools in the hardware shop. They look pretty cool. I really like these axes where they have a smart little holder, and that's about 20 quid as well for a smart axe. I can't understand why they've gone for this colour combo, like a black and orange. It reminds me of like Fiskars tools, which are really cool tools. They have some great axes too, but these are much, much cheaper. But they've gone for like, you know, rather than going for like a gunmetal grey or like a polished or chrome vanadium axe head, they've just, for some reason, gone for olive drab. It's like they had like loads of spare tins of olive drab paint, and they're like, that'll do us. Just do it olive drab, it'll match, no one will notice. But maybe that's how they've got the price right. You know, 20 quid for an axe, but you've got to have it in olive drab. Never mind. Sometimes you just scan over the drill bits and think there's nothing really to see, nothing different, but look at these things. So this is a 8mm nut spinner, but it's got this little like push thing. If you're doing panel building or something, you're kind of removing loads of connections and you're just whizzing through nuts, you could probably just like knock them all out. And they've got an 8mm, 10mm, 13mm, so all the most common metric sizes really. And they've got like a little smooth 1/4-inch bit. There's a few DeWalt bits here I've not seen before, to be fair. Getting one of these. I think 8mm is probably a good one. 8mm a handy size. Cool, that is. Look at that, Top Cena. There's not John Cena in here. Top Cena.
And his name is John Cena!
There's nothing there, it's just empty shelves. This is something I've not seen before in a store, a MacPack trolley. So I actually bought one of these when I did the video about how to upgrade the Makita MacPack, because I'm a bit of a Makita fan. That was where it all started for me when it came to power tools. And every time you buy a Makita power tool, not every time, but quite often, they'll send you one of these MacPacks. They're having 4 latches on one box, and they're usually quite like janky and they don't undo. They can be quite brittle as well, but I did a full video about upgrading and putting a piece of wood in the bottom, putting foam in them. But a big part of that was moving them all onto a trolley. And this trolley is pretty great. They don't clip on, but they do stack really neatly, and then the strap goes round and it is great. Price is 489 zloty, so 96 quid. Quite a pricey trolley, but I think that's a little bit less than I paid, to be fair. And the thing I quite liked about it is it does work as a standard sack truck as well. So it's not, you're not just paying 90 quid on a trolley. You've got a pretty decent sack truck that can go upstairs. Won't fit my suitcase though, so I best leave it here. Now there is a Makita tool that I probably will get. That is mental. Everywhere I go, they don't have a range of Makita tools. They'll just have one standalone little Makita hand tool. And this is a little 1/4-inch screwdriver bit holder that I'm guessing rotates 44 zloty, so it's about £9.50. It's pretty good. It'd be interesting to find a store where they've actually got the full Makita lineup and I can just see everything that's available, but maybe it's nice to just find little Easter eggs in every store, little breadcrumbs of Makita tools, and one day I'll have the full collection, but that's a pretty cool pickup. That's pretty interesting. Definitely not seen a trowel like that before. My guess would be this is for roughing up the outside of foam insulation to put a render coat on it. Most of the houses I've seen here in Poland are all rendered and then painted, but that is a pretty flipping dangerous looking weapon of a trowel. Not going to get one of those, but definitely an unusual tool. Talking quirky tools though, something did just catch my eye. Stanley, standard looking scraper. Well, it's actually quite wide, like a 5-inch, 6-inch scraper. But we've got a screwdriver bit holder in the end. Oh, the bit must be locked in there, you can't get it out. 6-inch scraper by Stanley. Stainless steel, but with a 1/4-inch screwdriver bit in the end. That is definitely a new one on me. That is the first scraper I think I've ever seen with a little screwdriver bit holder built in. So that, for 10 quid, is definitely a quirky tool, and I think we'll get that one. That's pretty crazy. So you've got a 4-piece screwdriver set, Allen key set, little nut spinner set, 52 pieces in there for 35 zloty, which is 7 quid for a little toolkit. That's pretty mental, isn't it? They've got a few OB branded tools over here, so 4 quid for a cork gun. I mean, you don't pay much for a cork gun, but that is like a bit more of a tube housing than your normal kind of cork gun. That's what I was hoping to see. An OB Zollstock, 25 zloty, so that's £5. That's a really nice one, to be fair. Let's get 5 of those. Well, 6, because I need one for the collection. Get your comments in. If you don't know by now, we do giveaways on the channel all the time, and I always look for a bundle of 5 just to have as many winners as possible, increase your odds of getting a prize. And all you've got to do is drop a comment down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. All the comments are entered. So let me know, is there any of these tools stand out to you? What's your favourite? I do read all the comments and reply to as many as I can, so get your comments below and then you'll be entered. And that's a pretty cool Zollstocks to have. Talking weird tools, that is only the second time I've ever seen a bottle opener hammer. It's mad to think I've seen it once before, to be fair, that is that strange, but I found one of these in Denmark at Bauhaus, and it did go down well. So I think if we get an Obi branded one, we're starting another collection there. I don't think that'll ever overtake the Zollstock collection, but you know, all collections start somewhere, so that's another quirky tool for the pile. We found a Polish-made tool. Now I've found a Polish-made toolbox. I do love the Qbrick boxes. I've talked about them a bunch of times on the channel because they're really solid, they're well made, and they're just really well thought out, and the cost is right. They're one of the most affordable boxes on the market, but you're not getting a budget box. You're getting a box with a seal. All the black ones are made out of recycled plastic as well, which is great. And they've got a huge range, literally like organisers of all different sizes. Everything integrates together. You've got the little organisers that you can put inside the big organisers. So there's like layers of organisation, which is just a dream for me. You've also got a load of accessories that go on the sides of the boxes. This is like a long level storage, but you can also put screwdrivers and spanners, slots on the side. And this box kind of helps demonstrate how they are thinking about compatibility. So this box has got 3 latches on it, so it doesn't just connect to other boxes the same size as it. So this is the Qbrick 1, so the big latches on the outside will connect it to other Qbrick 1 boxes, and then these inside latches will connect it to a 600mm wide box. So this is like one of the most popular toolbox sizes on the market. It's like a 20-inch standard box, and it'll connect. Then it'll also connect to like their Pro system. So this is a totally different range of boxes. You can have like a slim T-stack width box all the way down. But then if you've got like a really wide base box like this one, you can put the drawers on it and it'll attach to that as well. So the fact that these are like backwards compatible with their older models, all of the range will all connect. And even the other boxes, so they've got like a prime range, which we have in the UK, which is Ox Tool Trek. If you get this plate, and this plate can be like a wooden top, you can also have it as an adapter, then you can connect it to the prime box and to the Qbrick 2 box as well. So it's pretty impressive how Qbrick kind of allow you to build the system exactly how you need it. Just having a box like this, 20-inch box that you can stack and connect to another box, is pretty unusual. Usually these are like a standalone thing, and it's 94 zloty, so it's like 18 quid. But I do love drawers more than anything. And in terms of price, this thing is 400 zloty, which is about 80 quid. You can't get a pack-out drawer box for anywhere close to that. And this thing has got 3 drawers, it's much wider, and it locks. I think it's a bit of a winner, and the whole thing's made out of recycled plastic, which is also awesome. So for 80 quid, I think that is the one we get some foam in and get all the tools organised. Let's get back to the workshop. Before I go to the workshop, let me take a minute to tell you about this video sponsor, TesterUp. TesterUp is a marketplace for testing all sorts of apps, games, and software. It's really easy to set up an account. We'll put a link down in the description so you can go and use it. You can earn some money, test out some brand new apps that are new to the market, and you can be a bit ahead of the game, which is always exciting in itself, and earn yourself a few quid. And the funds that you earn aren't tied up in credit or somewhere you can't spend them. They're paid into your PayPal. So as soon as you receive it, you can withdraw it to your bank. The app is free to download. You just go into the App Store, download the app, and you can do it anytime, anywhere. Each member will receive over 50 bespoke offers to them worth over £800 in commission, which is immediately available after completing the tests. You can test anytime via a smartphone, a computer, or on a tablet. And it's not just surveys, games, and apps. You can also test physical products, cosmetics, and much, much more. With nearly 15,000 reviews, it's a tried and tested platform and just a great way to earn a few extra quid in your spare time, receive some free products, and test out some brand new stuff that no one else has got. So pretty cool. I'll put a link in the description to go and download the app and get started. Big thanks to TesterUp for sponsoring the video, and a big thanks to you guys for actually using the sponsors. It really helps us to grow the channel and do bigger and better videos. We've got some exciting things planned, and having sponsors really helps us. Right, let's get back to the workshop. Right, so back from OBI, but I'm not back from Poland because Qbrick hosted me this week. So I'm not in my workshop, I'm in their workshop, and I tell you what, this is a lot bigger and brighter than our studio, so I'm excited to be here. Now the Qbrick 1 box, I've brought a foam insert for as well, so I'm all ready to go, and as I go through my top 10 tools from OBI, I'll be able to lay them all out on a piece of foam, we'll cut that at the end, and hopefully with all these boxes behind me, I can talk you through what's special about the 1 box, how it integrates with all these. But with that being said, I've got an amazing selection of tools from OBI. I'll tell you what, it delivered this time. It's not a top 5, it's a top 10, and there's some absolute bangers in here. So let's get straight into it, starting with number 10. So number 10 is probably a tool I'd have ranked a lot higher if I could have got the 1/4" screwdriver bit out of the handle. I tell you what, this is a first on me. I've never seen a scraper with a 1/4" bit adapter built into the handle, and I think it's a great idea. And this was 51 zloty, so that's about 10 quid, just over £10. And it's a nicely made thing, Stanley as well, so it's a brand you'd expect to see in the UK, but I've never seen one. Let me know in the comments if you've seen a scraper with a 1/4" bit holder. But I had to rank it in number 10 because I cannot get, for the life of me, this bit out of there. I've used pliers, I've even put it in a vise. It will not come out of the handle, but a great idea. So that's number 10. Let me show you number 9. Number 9 is probably one of the quirkiest tools in the bag, and that is a hammer with a bottle opener on it. Now, I saw one of these in Denmark at their Bauhaus, so it was a nice throwback to see another one of these. And I just think, you know, once you finish work, you open a beer, who doesn't need a hammer with a beer opener on it? So that's pretty cool. But it didn't stop there. I also got the classic Zollstock. You know by now I'm always on the hunt for a new Zollstock. So I didn't just get one, I got 5 and one for my collection. So you know what to do, drop a comment below. I do read all the comments and I reply to as many as I can. So any of these tools that stand out to you on the top 10, let me know in the comments below, and then you'll be entered into the giveaway. And it's a pretty nice Zollstock, this, to be fair. Made in Germany by Baumer. And this is a pretty nice one, to be fair. It's got the metal brackets on it. Not quite as good as a shadow foam one, I'd say, but it's pretty close. So that's number 9. Let me show you number 8. Number 8 is Obi's home brand, or like their private label, which is Lux. Now, there's a few items from Lux, but this is the standout for me, because it looks relatively innocuous, this. It's hard to even tell what it is, but you've got to pick it up, get a bit hands-on, and then you realise this thing is a bit holder. So you've got 20 bits in there, and it was 3 quid. This thing was 15 zloty. And it's got a belt clip on it, so it's quite a handy little thing. And I think that is the kind of thing I'd love to add to, I'd love to get a shadow foam logo on that and have that as part of our quirky tool selection. So maybe I'll have to investigate if I can source one. But that was the first item in number 7. Also, I picked up this, which is just a really simple device for catching dust. So when you drill in a wall, particularly if you're drilling some red masonry brick and you're creating loads of red dust, it can be a bit of a nightmare holding a hoover below it. But this thing was only 20 zloty, so about £4, and it's going to save a whole ruck of mess. But I also picked up, and this is what I'm always looking for, basically, a nice Zollstock with a brand printed on it that I don't have. So that's Lux Tools, a new one for the collection, pretty good. So that all together is number 8. Let me show you number 7. So number 7 is a Polish brand, Neo Tools. It was a new one on me, and the thing that really caught my eye first was this old 1/2" sausage shape extension adapter. I don't think I've ever seen a flexible 1/2" extension like this. Just the sheer amount of flexibility. This thing can go fully round corners, it looks like, and it's pretty nice quality too, nice chrome. And I also picked up a set of the Neo Tools spanners, just because of the price, really. This thing was 100 zloty, so that's 20 quid. They're not a cheap quality spanner. £20 on a spanner set in the UK is going to get you one of probably the most cheap sets of spanners. But this is actually quite a nice quality. You can see the profile of the spanners is quite nice. We'd have to give these a bit of a test, use them in anger to really get a true feel for them, but they certainly look really nice. And for 20 quid, I think that was a really good pickup. But the thing that really sets it apart for me is the old flexible sausage here, which I think is a great addition to any 1/2" socket set, to be fair. 200mm long, can go around corners, can't be bad. So that's number 7. Let me show you number 6. Number 6 on the list is a very well-known brand, DeWalt, but I'm always finding stuff from well-known brands that I've not seen before, and this is a perfect example, really. It's only small, but it's an 8mm nut spinner with a little release mechanism. It's called the Extreme Impact Cleanable Nut Driver. So they had this in 8mm, 10mm, 30mm. Wasn't very expensive, and I think that would be really handy, specifically if you're doing like panel building, you're kind of putting a lot of nuts on, or you're taking a panel apart and you are spinning off a lot of 8mm nuts. I think that is quite handy. But let me know in the comments, have you seen a cleanable nut driver? And if you do, you'll also be entered into the giveaway, so why not? So that is number 6. Let me show you number 5. Number 5 is another brand you'll recognise, Einhell, but I've never seen any hand tools from them. It's always the power tools. Now this thing caught my eye purely because it was Einhell, it's in a nice case, but the price, 47 zloty this was, which is unbelievable. That's about £9.50 for a 37-piece 1/4" socket set. And it's pretty nice as well. The case is nice, it's nice and solid. You've got what looks like pretty good quality 1/4" screwdriver bits. You've got a nut spinner set from 4mm all the way up to 13mm. And let's have a look at the 1/4" ratchet driver. Even that's not bad. That is pretty good. And you get an extension as well. So I think all that for £9.50 is pretty unbelievable, to be honest. And it's all organised in a nice bit of foam as well, which is makes it even better in my eyes. So I think £9.50 for that is a pretty good example of how cheap tools can be in Poland. And that's been the running pattern, really. The spanners, the socket set, everything seems really good value. So if I do a video about the best place to go and buy tools, I'm pretty sure Poland is going to be on that list. So that's number 5. Let me show you number 4. So number 4 on the list is a Japanese tool, and again this represented great value. It's one I've not seen before. It's a razor scraper, which I have seen before, so it takes like standard razor blades, but it's got like storage in the handle, and this was 65 zloty, 70 zloty, so about £12, which again, the fact that's made in Japan, come all the way to Poland, and it's still 12 quid is not bad. But the thing that made it a little bit different to me is the fact it's got some blade storage in here, which I've never seen before. Olfa 2, everything I've had from Olfa in the past has been really good quality, and this is no exception. So it's a nice little add to any toolkit really. These are really handy having a razor scraper. So that's number 4, and that takes us to the top 3. Let me show you number 3. Number 3 is another really simple one, but another Polish brand, Dedra. Dedra had a whole host of consumables and some tools as well. I was on the lookout for something a bit interesting, a bit different. This was one of the only things I could find that weren't part of a standard good tool range. This is like an impact grade, 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch bit driver adapter, which just sounds a bit mental. If you're looking for impact bits, that means you're putting them under a lot of impact, you're putting them under a lot of force. You've got a black steel socket here, so it's a bit more flexible and it's not going to crack, it's not as brittle, but you're putting a 1/4 inch screwdriver bit in it, which I think it's just going to blow it up. I think you start using a 1/2 inch impact gun on a small 1/4 inch screwdriver bit, I don't think it's going to last very long. But that being said, it's nicely made and it's pretty interesting, so it's in the number 3 slot. Let me show you number 2. So number 2 is another brand you'll recognise, but you'll definitely won't recognise this tool. It's from Makita. Now I've got a soft spot for Makita because I've always had Makita power tools. That's what I started on. And all my first power tools were Makita, and I'm always on the lookout for an interesting Makita tool. Now this one was a totally new one on me. And again, it wasn't that expensive. I think this came in at about £9, something like that. It was just less than 50 zloty. And it looked interesting in the packet, but it's only got more interesting as I've opened it and had a look at it. So this is a bit holder, which also functions as a screwdriver. This is the classic thing with Makita. It's a great idea. It's a great little product, but the execution isn't quite there. It's got a really cheap quality 1/4 inch bit holder, which is not branded Makita. It's just probably one of the cheapest ones you can get. Then the housing has got a 1/4 inch bit holder up at the top, so you can turn it into a little screwdriver, and then you kind of rotate this top section here to allow you to slide out the screwdriver bits, and you've got some long ones, and then you've also got some standard short screwdriver bits down here. So it's a great little idea. Most screwdrivers that have got bits in the handle wouldn't have a 1/4 inch bit driver in them like this that you can put in your drill. So I think a great little idea this, and not bad money. 9 quid for that seems fantastic. But I think it'd be much more worth it to spend a bit more and have a much better quality item, especially when you've got Makita written on it. You'd expect better, wouldn't you? But I think it still deserves its spot in number 2 because it's a clever little idea and a clever little tool for my kit. So that's number 2. Let me show you what took the top spot in number 1. So number 1 is the house brand from Obi, and that is Lux Tools. Now it's always great looking at the house brands because quite often they'll have quirky, interesting tools that they've added to their lineup of standard tools. And this item I think is pretty exceptional. I think it'd be a great addition to any compact toolkit because they're boiling down a few tools into one tool, and quite often when you see that, you see there's a big drop in quality, but this thing seems really decent to be fair. So starting at the top, it's a standard 12-inch adjustable, but with a reversible jaw, which I love. I've got a couple of these from Bacco, which is a Swedish brand. I love Bacco, owned by Snap-on, always great quality. And one of my favourite spanners from them is the reversible jaw, which kind of works as an adjustable. You reverse the jaw and then it's like a Stilson wrench and you can get off like rounded nuts and stuff, which is fantastic. And then they've kind of added on or welded on like a hammer head, which is great because there's a lot of weight in the head, so it actually is going to function quite well as a hammer. I don't think it'd want to be your everyday hammer, but in a pinch, in a compact toolkit, in a kit you've got in the car, I think that is perfect. And then down here, you've got a 3/8 socket driver, which is reversible, and it just seems like quite a good quality one too. I've seen similar tools that scaffolders use with like a podge bar on one end and then a ratchet on the other side. Sometimes they have a hammer on them, but not nearly as good as this, and they don't have the reversible adjustable. So I think that is a pretty exceptional tool, and it was only 60 zloty, which is like 12 quid. For one of the best tools I think I've ever found, and the best value tool I've ever found, that is an absolute winner. So only hammers own the point that the tool prices in Poland are very good. So that is my list of top 10 quirky tools, and I've done a bit of a layout as well, so we can cut all that into shadow foam. But this week, I'm not just cutting it in a time lapse on an overhead, and we'll be teaching the Qbrick studio team. So if you want to see the Qbrick team cutting some foam, go and check out their channel. We'll put a link in the description below. So let's get them into the studio and teach them how to cut some foam. Right, so something a little bit different. I'm not just teaching you how to cut shadow foam today, I'm also teaching Bart and Peter from the Qbrick studio. Because Qbrick don't just make toolboxes, you also make YouTube videos, don't you?
Yes, we make a lot of movies about toolboxes, our systems, our clients, professionals from Poland, so very interesting. From time to time we are also inviting our guests.
Right.
Our guest, you are our special guest, expert from the United Kingdom, about foam inserts especially.
That's it, yeah. You're the toolbox experts, I'm the shadow foam expert. So and we'll be showing you guys how to cut. This is an insert for your one box. So I picked this up from Obi today, and I prepared an insert for it, and these are all the tools that I collected from Obi. Some pretty interesting ones. A couple of Polish brands I've not seen before. Lux from Obi, and Neo, not seen Neo before.
Yes, it's popular brands in Poland,
Yeah.
and this combination is very attractive, I think. I think it's great insert to our toolbox drawers.
Well, it fits in there perfectly, but I'll show you how to do it. So let me start with spanners. I think would be a good start. Well, let me start with this Zollstock over here. Okay, so all you do is you place an item where you want it to go, and then you use the scalpel that comes in the cutting kits.
The scalpel. Pay attention, the scalpel.
That's it. Yeah, you've got to be very careful. Always wear a cutting-proof glove. So when you guys are cutting, got to make sure you wear an anti-cut glove.
Okay.
So you just use the scalpel like a pencil, and you just cut around the object, and you're just cutting straight down into the foam. You're not cutting on an angle. You're just cutting 90 degrees perpendicular to the foam, and you're just basically capturing the profile on the foam.
Precision like in plastic surgery.
That's
Very
exactly
nice.
it. And foam is made out of plastic, so it is exactly plastic surgery.
Wow.
Brain surgery.
Brain surgery. Once you've gone all the way around, you take the item away, and then you go back around and just make sure you've cut deep enough. The first pass is just to capture the profile, just to capture the shape, and we go back around, we make sure that we've cut all the way.
And later, a little bit deeper, yes, because it's 1 centimeter
That's
approximately.
it. That's a bit deeper than a spanner, yeah. So with this, you also have to make sure you've connected up the corners. The corners is the place where it might tear out, so make sure you've done that. And once you've cut all around, all you have to do then is push your finger down one end, and it doesn't matter which, and you just kind of hook the end of your finger under a layer and just pull it up towards yourself, and you can kind of feel the layer rip, and then you just kind of chase out the foam all the way along.
Okay.
You're not peeling it like a banana, pulling it one end and peeling it back. You're just kind of chasing it along.
Step by step, not like banana.
Not like not like banana. Yeah, I say that too many times.
It looks, in your hands, it looks super easy and super, you know.
It is easy.
Nice.
So we peel all the way to the end, and that's the space there for the tool. And I've not gone too deep because I do like it sitting a bit proud.
Fits well, perfectly.
Yeah. So that's how you do it. Obviously, I'll be cutting all of these tools in here that I've collected from Obi, making a lovely little drawer insert. So that's all of the foam cut, and I also added some finger pulls as well, which they're super easy to do. I just basically cut down both sides of a ruler, and then it makes it easy to get everything in and out.
Yes, it was a very simple and effective idea.
Super professional.
I didn't realize that's so easy.
I'm glad to hear that.
It was about 15 minutes
Yes.
for every tool.
All these holes looks like made by machine, not by human. So
human.
we are impressed. We are impressed.
Very impressed.
It's very easy. The quality of this foam is perfect. You have a special pro set with all necessary tools.
It's just everything I use basically, and obviously over the years I've got better at it, and I've found other little items. So the repair glue, if you make a mistake, you don't have to throw the whole liner in the bin. You can glue the material back in, you can go again. The foam spinner is something I love. I mean, you can get quite a good smooth finish with your finger and peeling it anyway, but sometimes you just want that extra little bit of good finish, so the spinner helps with that. Obviously this is a Qbrick Pro 1 system drawer insert, so this is designed to fit perfectly in the drawer. And we do have inserts for all of the Qbrick boxes on the website. So the Qbrick 1 system, the 2 system, the Pro system, every one of the boxes so far. We've got pretty good coverage, and obviously this shadow foam insert's in red, but we've got 10 colours as well.
I think these drawers are professional, but with these foam inserts, it's master level, pro, and
Yeah, and it's great because you can obviously have a full stack of drawers and tailor it exactly how you need.
I don't see any disadvantages of this solution. So a great occasion to us to see how it looks, and so freedom about this solution is obvious to me.
Yeah,
wow,
amazing.
Impressive.
Oh, well, I appreciate your feedback. And while I was cutting, the Zollstock was switched out to a Qbrick Zollstock. So that is a brilliant add to the collection. So thanks very much for having me.
Thank you. A great
Thank
present.
you. Thank you very much.
It's been great. So that's my top picks from shopping in Poland, and it was an absolute dream, to be fair. Finding some great tools at great prices is all you can ask, really, and that's what I love about tool tourism. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you drop a comment below so you're entered into the giveaway draw for the Obi Zollstock. And like I say, this is a pretty nice one, so get all your comments in. I read all the comments and I reply to as many as I can, so let me know down below what was your favourite tool in this haul. Thanks very much to Qbrick for hosting me and inviting me down to the studio. It's great to spend some time with them. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.